I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Everything I do so instinctive and so passionate. Every word I move so descriptive like an adjective. I got a vendetta against people who patented being negative when you should be getting after it. I got facts over tracks, this and that. Spitting slow, spitting fast, I could roast, I could gas. Think I'm okay at last, but I don't know if that can erase all the past. And the pettiness, a reflection of the emptiness. Hilarious, you think you're worth my time, you're delirious. Mysterious, because you hide behind a fake exterior. Inferior, you know I'll always be a bit superior. Get off of me, this ain't no humble brag. I want you to hear words, you can say them back. I want you to feel free from the chains at last, and to believe in what you got, it was built to last, yeah.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
Gonna learn the consequence of being incompetent. Mental health is confidence, dreams and some modestness. I'm not here to save the day, that's for you to take away. I could play a million mind games, but instead I say something not illogical, something that is topical. Rub it on and watch it go, make yourself unstoppable. Dreams are irresponsible, but they're always possible. If you just believe, you could be so remarkable.
Thoughts in my head, a collage and they spread. I'll be great one day, going off of my meds. No, I'm not giving up, no, I'm not giving in. I will make it to the top, taking off in the wind. I gotta make it, I'm saving every day to taste it. I'm patient, but my mind, it can hardly take it. I'm chasing a dream that I've had for several ages. A vacant, modern kingdom for the taking.
Now that I've been put through hell, I never got anyone's help. I had to do it all myself.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this,
Hey, Thomas, good to see you, man. Let's see, I ran Chicago last year and PR'd. I'm cleaning, and Ruth beat me by almost 2 hours, but I was clean. That's such a shame what happened. I'm just finishing a strength workout with my 11-year-old son. Okay, good stuff, man. Yeah, Chicago. Let's see. Yeah, Chicago's crazy, man. What happened there? Are you talking about the Ruth Chipchinga? I think Chiptega. Yeah, that 209.56. That's absolutely insane. Not that, I don't know. I think for an athlete to be clean and run that quick is, I don't know. I hate not saying impossible, but yeah, I think the women's world record should be around 214 to 216 range. 209 is insane, but yeah, I had somebody left a message on one of my videos, said that, they said something like, it's crazy what's going on with Kenya, but it's in every country. There's a lot of top athletes around the world that are unfortunately using that. But to a lot of them, running is all they have. And that's their mainstay. I mean, but at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Bipartisan, let's see, tired of streaming to 0. Let's change that only at, okay. All right. Man, beat me by almost 2 hours. Yeah, even mentioning that, Thomas, yeah, the amount of distance, even the fact that she was ahead of world-class men, uh, running 210 to 212 range. Everybody's got their own viewpoint of what world-class is, but if you're running that quick, in my opinion, you definitely are. But to be 2 hours and still run phenomenal, man. I mean, to run that quick and to have an athlete, at that particular time, it's absurd. But yeah, pretty wild. Yeah, so I haven't done a stream in a while, so I figured I'd jump on and see if anybody had any questions. I know we'll give it a little bit of time. With these streams here, it usually takes a little bit of time for folks to jump on. And again, too, not knowing exactly when is the perfect time to be on these streams with everybody's got, different schedules. I think the weekend's usually the best, but sometimes weekdays. I think what I'll need to do is I mentioned this, I think, in my last stream, is I think I'll jump on, or I'll have a vote and see, do like a poll and see what folks think in terms of doing live streams during the weekdays or during the weekend. So, but yeah, some pretty wild performances going on. I had the lady that ran the 4:06 mile at the sub 4-minute mile attempt. That was pretty wild. And then Josh Kerr taking second today actually, in London, run 3:29 the 1500 to an 18-year-old Kenyan who ran 3:28. It's insane. Some of these athletes are doing now at such a young age. Even high school too. Here in America, it's crazy. I think there was a high school sophomore that ran a 1:45 or 1:46 for the 800, broke the national record. And then Jane, I can't think of her last name, but she broke the 3,000 meter and the mile record, running 8:40 for the 3K outdoors, and then 4:23 for the mile outdoors as well. And pretty wild performances for sure. Athletes that young. Man. So yeah, with this particular streaming software, I'm able to jump on a few different platforms: YouTube, Twitch. I'm on YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and what's this? And another one. It's a new type of platform, but it's pretty cool that I'm able to jump on these. Hey Ben, how you doing, man? Let's see here. Let me throw your question on here. I'm racing a marathon in October. I'm not sure if there will be pacers or not. Any tips for mentally preparing to run by yourself for about 3 hours? Thanks for all the great content. Yeah, my pleasure, Ben. I appreciate it. At the end of the day, and I've been in positions where you're at too, where you're going to run races totally by yourself. You really have to rely on, my best advice is just to stay confident in yourself, trust your training, what you're doing. I always say, and I always, practice this, even my own training, is always make training the most difficult part of your preparation. And when it comes time to the race, for you to race, just stay as calm and as relaxed as you possibly can. Thinking back to Sim in 2007, I mean, me and my teammate, we were joking at the start line. We were totally relaxed. But the training was so demanding that I knew anything that anybody in that race, and there were a large group of Kenyans in that race too. I remember them saying too, prior to the start of the race, they said by the half marathon point, it's going to be all Kenya. And I'm thinking to myself, you guys got another thing coming here. You better be ready, because I was ready. And the same thing with you, Ben. Continually, like I always say, continually rehearse and see yourself performing at a high level. Train to the maximum in training. And when it comes time to race, when you start dropping that volume and your intensity, you're going to be so prepared and you're going to be relaxed. And I think a lot of times, so many runners, and I certainly have done it too, and made the mistake earlier in my career, you psych yourself out and you overanalyze and overthink the process. Not saying you, Ben, but I'm just saying in general, I think a lot of athletes would do that sometimes. And because of that, you don't perform at the level that you're capable of, because you have all that additional stress and physical stress and mental stress on yourself, when really at the end of the day, man, it's just running, let your competition stress out and freak out, about who's in the race and do I got to hit these specific splits. Just really, like I said, trust in your training. Do everything you possibly can in training to take yourself to the limit, both mentally and physically, because that is going to go a long way. And I know there's obviously I think that you will have some athletes. In most cases, you're going to have some athletes to race with in that race in October. But if you're in the position where you're running by yourself, just continue to remind yourself that I'm relaxed. If you start feeling yourself tense up, consciously tell yourself to relax. Monitor the amount of muscle tension you're feeling too in the race. A lot of times our shoulders start to rise. We start to tense up our face. Those are things that you can consciously adjust in the race. And again, do that in training, practice that in training. Even when you're running easy, you can even tense up when you're running easy. And you'll notice that in training. I mean, I do it all the time still. I mean, I can consciously see myself, I start tensing up and I'll consciously tell myself to relax. But those are some of the things that I would really, in terms of mentally preparing to run by yourself for about 3 hours. Yeah. And also continue to remind yourself too, and do this in training as well, is to practice running the tangent. So you're running the least amount of distance as you possibly can in the race, and do that in training. You get in the habit of running the shortest amount of distance. If you're in the race and you're running on the opposite side of the road, you have to run clear across the road. If your competitors are already on the right-hand side and a right-hand turn's coming up, they're already running the least amount of distance, but you have to go all the way across the road to catch them. Okay. So be mindful of that as well as you're racing mentally, and preparing for that mentally. I think if you consciously remind yourself that prior to the start of the race and as you're in the race, and kind of monitor where you're at, you can do a lot of damage against other athletes that aren't paying attention to that. When I was in my prime, I would always do that. If a left-hand turn was coming up, I was always on the far left side of the road. I wasn't in the middle of the road. I was in the far right of the road. And of course, there's going to be cases where if you're running behind a group, draft off them. The least amount of energy expenditure is that you can expend in the race, the better. And if you can sit behind a group of runners that are running at your pace, or even if they're running a little bit too quick, but you're within range of them, you're still going to save a little bit of energy by not being in the lead. Now, when you're ready to make the move, go for it. You know what I mean? But yeah, those are some of the things I would just keep in mind. Just trust your training. I know you're doing great work, Ben. And I've noticed a lot of the comments that you leave on my videos. I appreciate it. But yeah, you're asking the right questions. You're doing what it takes to succeed. And it starts here, man. You know what I mean? It starts mentally. It starts in the mind first. Trust me. I mean, I would always envision, even when I was in high school, I was always seeing myself performing at a high level, running smooth, running fast, getting across the finish line in the goal time that I wanted, even though I hadn't hit it yet. Okay. Always be thinking ahead. You know what I mean? So hope that's helpful. Hey, AT, thanks for the support, man. I appreciate it. I was curious if your recommendation for a 10-day is designed for, hold on, let me put this on here too. I appreciate the support, AT. I was curious if your recommendation for a 10-day is designed for athletes of all levels, or would those newer to running benefit from a longer taper? That is a great question. I think that, yeah, and it's tough too, because the videos I share, the advice I give, I know and I understand it's not always going to work for every athlete. And I think for somebody that's brand new to the sport, I think maybe a longer taper phase may be more beneficial to those specific athletes versus somebody that's been around for a while in the sport. And again, what works for me and what works for you may not work for someone else. So I think that is a great question there. And I do believe that if you're a new athlete or you're just getting involved in the sport, I do think a longer taper may work for athletes that are more new to the sport. So yeah, great question. And again, thank you for the support. I really appreciate it. Hey, Mom, great to see you. Glad you're on here. Hey, Coach, I appreciate I'm using the 255 program and 11 weeks out. Okay, good stuff, man. Yeah. And remember, to everybody that's on here, also remember to adjust your pacing, okay? The training plans that I have on RunDreamAchieve.com, the running courses, they do not adjust for temperature. So what I always recommend is check out the V.02 calculator and click on the advanced settings button. If you click on that, you know, like I always say, I mean, and as you all know too, if it's 90 degrees Fahrenheit out, it's going to be drastically harder to hit kilometer splits, mile splits in your tempo runs versus if it's 55 degrees or 50 degrees, optimal conditions. Massive difference between those particular two. So a lot of athletes, they'll get bent out of shape. I'm like, man, I was way off my splits. What was your temperature? What was the temperature out at? You know, if it's 85 degrees out or 90 degrees and you're trying to hit 630 mile pace for a 10-mile tempo or 16K run, okay, you have to adjust that. Usually it's about 10 to 15 seconds slower in, say, like 85 degree heat versus 55 degree heat. So Ben and everybody else that's on here, do adjust your pacing with the hotter temperatures. Heat and humidity will absolutely destroy even the most prepared athletes' athletic performance. It's so much harder, and I know I'm preaching to the choir regarding that, but from my own experience too, I've never ever been a hot weather runner. I remember in high school having issues running a 1600 and a 3200 on the track in hot temperatures, and I never performed at my best in those conditions. I always was in, if it was 40 degrees to 55 degrees, watch out. I mean, I absolutely love colder weather. So hello to you, Mom. My mom and her birds representing are on the stream. So thank you for being here too. Love you, Mom. Only had 150 characters. Yeah, no worries, AT. Yeah, Matt, that's really a great question what you asked there. I'll just put it back on here just for folks who are on. Yeah, it's just, I think a 10-day taper for, I think, and again, I'm speaking from my own experience and what worked best for me. I thought dropping volume and intensity 3 weeks out, 21 days out from my goal races, it didn't make me feel rested. I mean, I usually feel kind of tired because you get in the habit of spending so many weeks and months putting in hard training, long runs, tempo runs, hill repetitions. And then if you start dropping that, if you start dropping the intensity and volume that far out, again, it works for some athletes. It didn't work for me. And I've seen a lot of athletes switch from a 3-week to a 10-day that have hit multiple personal records since I've had RunDreamAchieve. I started the site back in 2011. And since then, I mean, I probably hundreds of athletes have reached out to me and said, hey, wow, I didn't think that keeping my volume and my intensity up until 10 days out would make that much of a difference, but I feel great in the race. So, but your question, I think, definitely is very powerful, because I think that a lot of new athletes that are new to the sport, they don't necessarily have to really, you don't have to get so specific and technical with running. Even athletes that have been around for a long time, I think if you get too serious and too immersed in it, and you start just, a lot of athletes don't perform at a high level because of that, because they're just overly analyzing every little thing, whereas a beginner, they can just say, hey, I want to go out and run a 5K, or I want to try to run a 10, start and finish a 10K, keep my training high, and I'm going to do a 3-week taper and see if that works for me, and try that method for several months, several iterations, several years, see how it works, and then maybe adjust to a 10-day. But great question, AT. Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, the news, as Thomas mentioned too, about the news of Ruth, I can't think of her last name, from Kenya, that ran the 209.56 marathon in Chicago. I knew when that happened, I just didn't feel right about it. But again, nobody really knows what her situation was, but to run a 209.56, I mean, even before that, the world record for women was 211.53. So she took almost 2 minutes off, and prior to that, the world record was 214.04, which I think is getting closer to around where is the absolute limit for women. I think for men too, I think the absolute limit for most men who are running clean and not using performance enhancing drugs is probably around 206, 208 range. Again, everybody's gonna have different viewpoints of that, but man, 209 blew me away. I couldn't believe it, and so it wasn't a shock when I heard the news, as a lot of folks are thinking the same thing. Julian, let's see, how you doing? I'm just starting running again after 10 weeks out. Let me see here. I'm just starting running again after 10 weeks out through injury. Any tips on rebuilding fitness again? Yeah, I mean, I think most importantly, just remember that there's always going to be other races to run. And two, I mean, I've had plenty of injuries over the years too. I had piriformis syndrome that lasted about 8 months. I spent about 8 months when I was stationed in Belgium back in 2005 to 2007, and literally spent 8 months in the pool, in the deep end of a pool running. And it just takes time for you. I don't know what particular injury you had. If you can share it, let me know. But I think most importantly right now is to spend about 2 months running aerobically, build that strong aerobic foundation of mileage first. Don't do any tempo runs, nothing anaerobic. Okay, start back fresh. As you mentioned too, okay, broken fifth metatarsal. Okay, so on your foot, man. Okay, yeah. Definitely start back slow. Pre-plan. I think, pre-planning, think of some races that are going to motivate you, that are occur, say, in the next 6 to 8 months or 6 months to a year. Pre-plan out. And again, sometimes just thinking about writing down some of the races that you want to do will keep you motivated along the way. But when coming back from 10 weeks out from an injury like that, especially with your feet, man, continue to monitor how you're feeling in training too. And like I said, do not start back too quick, because again, it will take time for your muscles and your feet and the injured areas of your body that was previously injured to get stronger. So focus mainly on aerobic training. You don't, like I mentioned, pool running. I think pool running is a great cross-training alternative. If you don't want to do a long run, get in the deep end of a pool, wear a flotation device, and just focus on your form. It's not hard. If you're wearing a flotation device, it's not really hard to run it in the deep end of the pool. You can just really it's still a great workout because the water pressure is there. So, and you take off the flotation device and it will quickly become an anaerobic workout, but there's not going to be any stress on your metatarsal, okay, versus going out and running on land, okay? Cross training is still good too. Do maybe 2 days of cross training per week, and then the rest of the week do running, aerobic running. If you do want to do some light pickups, do some strides, 5 to 6 50-meter strides, maybe twice per week. For those 8 weeks of aerobic mileage building, I think doing that for 2 months and then start depending on which type of race you're aiming for, 12 to 20 week buildup, then you start a specific training buildup. But be very patient with yourself, Julian. Yeah, no problem. Yellow Africa. Any treadmill tips? Pace on a treadmill seems a lot slower than compared to running outside. Yeah, I mean, there's days where, and I've spent a lot of time training on treadmills too. And what will make it feel more like running outside is the incline. So you don't necessarily have to always be on a 5% or 0.5% or 1% incline. But they say if you're at 1% incline, it will equal running outside. Okay. But again, with treadmill, yeah, I mean, there is times where you're just going to need, if it's inclement weather outside, if it's pouring, if it's pouring down rain, you can still do a workout. It's still fun, but your paces obviously are going to be thrown off. But there are days where it's just, if it's like 100 degrees out and you want to get a really good tempo run in or a long run in, do it on the treadmill. But I think that, just like any other athletes that's dealt with that, there's boredom that goes along with that. But also remind yourself that the world's top distance runners and middle distance runners are spending a lot of time on the treadmill as well. Jakob Ingebrigtsen from Norway is an example of that. Does like a lot of training on the treadmill, as do a lot of athletes from other parts of the world. But again, it really just comes down to, if you do have to deal with that, just remind yourself of your goals and what you're wanting to do in the sport. Maybe it's to, earn a Boston Marathon qualifying time, or drop 10 to 15 seconds off your 1500 meter time or 3K time, whatever it is that's going to keep you motivated to get through those times where you're like, man, I do not want to run on this treadmill for 2 hours or 30 minutes or however long it is. But yeah, there is going to be times where it's going to feel a lot slower. But if it does, then just pick up the pace. You know what I mean? And adjust the incline. If you're running on 0% incline, if your goal is to run 7-minute mile pace, for example, if you're running at 0% incline, really you're running around 7:08 to 7:10 per mile. Okay. Now, again, that doesn't mean you have to always be running on the 0% either. So, but again, if it's feeling easier, one, you're probably in great shape. You could be still running too aerobically, and you're not really challenging yourself enough. So up the pacing, and to a point where it does feel a little bit more like you're giving an even harder effort. And then also consider the incline as well. 0.5% to 1%. If you're in that range, you're good. But again, you don't always have to be at an incline either. Okay, so there's days where you just, hey, I want to get I want to get an easy run in, and I want to run a treadmill, and I'm not worrying about incline. So, hope that's helpful. I don't know if that answers your question, but I hope it is. Hey, Frank, good to see you. Great question, man. If you had to pick between bigger gels less often or smaller gels more frequently, which would you pick? That's a great question. I would go with smaller gels. I mean, again, everybody's different, and everybody has different preferences when they're racing. But I mean, when I was running longer races, I'd always have the smaller gels. My focus more was drinking enough, especially in these longer races. You don't want to sip, and I think a lot of athletes, I made the mistake earlier, especially running marathons, not taking enough hydration, not taking enough fluid, but also not taking in enough gels in the race as well. Most of those smaller gels, I don't know as much of the bigger gels packets that you're talking about. I have seen them, but I think the smaller gels, again, that's for me. It works best for me. Usually the smaller gels are usually between 100 and 150 calories that go straight to your bloodstream as you're racing. So the bigger gels, again, it may pack a little bit more punch, but you don't want to take in too much that you get sick in the race, or you have to you have to throw up, things like that. It's already hard enough to run a race all out like that. And then to deal with intestinal problems, things like that, things with your stomach, continue to practice in training during your long runs, ingesting gels too. I think if you get in the habit of practicing that as well, it can help you in the race. But in terms of bigger or smaller, again, that's just going to be different for each athlete, but try both of them in your long runs. I would do that as well when I was in my prime too. I would always have gels usually around every 10 kilometers in my long run, range anywhere from 32K to 40K long runs. So, hope that's helpful, Frank. Yeah, no problem. Appreciate it. My pleasure, Yellow. Yeah, but I think too, the long run too, the biggest mistake, especially with these longer races like the 10 mile, the half marathon, 25K marathon, nutrition is absolutely vital if you really want to get it right. And you can be spending so many months and so many, weeks of hard training and destroy your overall performance, athletic performance, if you're not as serious, taking in enough gels and taking enough fluid. So really getting in the habit of getting better at hydrating in these longer races. If you do not pass the aid stations, take 2 to 3 Dixie cups instead of 1 Dixie cup and drinking a half of one. You know what I mean? You really, I think if you don't want to become dehydrated 10 miles or 16 kilometers into a 42.2K race, I know all of you have been there, probably have been there. It's not fun. And drinking enough and taking enough calories and taking enough fluid in the race will make sure that you have the highest chance of success. Hey, Val, good to see you. I'd love to join your live stream whenever you are streaming. Add me on Discord. My Discord name is Peace8857. I don't think I'm on. Let me see here. I don't think I'm on Discord yet. I'm on StreamYard. This is the service I'm using, but I'm on right now. I'm on YouTube. I'm streaming on Twitch, Twitter, and but that being said, I will write that down and add you on Discord, because I know I'm not on Discord yet, but let me see here. Peace 8857. Yeah, I'll check that out after the stream and add you. So good stuff. Appreciate you being here though. Hey, Stockton, have a half marathon coming in December, targeting at sub 110. Wow. Okay. Nice. Should I do a 10 miler at 5:30, 5:45 mile pace 1 month or 2 months out? I would do it 1 month out. 2 months out. Yeah, this is, I mentioned this in another video I made a few weeks ago, but you want to, if you get in that type of fitness, and kudos to you, Stockton, for aiming for a sub 110. That is no joke. That is not easy running. You do not want to get too anaerobically fit too early in a build-up, okay? And I've had other times where I made that mistake. I did a 20 miler prior to the 2011 Monumental Indianapolis Marathon, 6 weeks out from the race, and ran it in 1 hour and 50 minutes and 2 seconds. I think it averaged out at 5:30 mile pace. And what I wish I would have done was done this, did that long run. And instead of doing that, the Indianapolis, I ended up going there. I took 5th. I wish I would have found a marathon that was like 2 weeks or 3 weeks from that point, and not 6 weeks out. In your case, if you can do a 10 miler at 5:30 to 5:45 mile pace, I would aim to do it 4 weeks out from your marathon. 10 miles is okay. If you can do a hard 10 miler 4 weeks out, I think that's a reasonable, good time frame to really prepare yourself to get in the type of fitness that you're going to need to be in order to run 109, 59 or faster. And that is the type of time frame that you're going to need to run at. I wouldn't, if you do it 2 months out, if you're 8 weeks out and you still got another, 2 months of training to go, I don't know. I think doing it 4 weeks out is the better way. And again, it's a mistake I made. And it's hard too, as you all know, it's hard to time getting in optimal fitness properly every single time, because we're so driven. We want to get in do the right workouts, adjust to the workouts we're doing, adapt to the workouts, getting enough sleep, all the other fundamentals that go into great training. But yeah, I think doing it 4 weeks out is the better way. I got it. 4 weeks is perfect. Okay. Police Academy sponsored me to run the event, so want to make sure I don't burn out. Yeah. That's a good plan of action. I think 8 weeks out, I think too, would make you. It's a long way. You still got a lot of time to train, but doing it 4 weeks out, I think you're going to be ready for it. Yeah. Keep me posted too, man. 109 is, phenomenal running. So kudos to you for going after that fast of a time. Hey, Morian, hey coach, I've raced multiple races this month, but now I struggle to take time off from the 5K. Should I do some weeks of base training at 65 to 70 miles with maybe some fast 1500 races? Again, it's hard to answer a question like this because there's a lot of variables I don't know in terms of your preparation. How long have you been training? In terms of let me see here. But now I struggle to take time off from the 5K. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of times if you've been doing a lot of different races and you've been training for say like 3 months to 4 months, I would recommend taking a week off completely, and then start doing base training and then start a new build up and then start focusing on some 1500 races, maybe some 3000s, jumping maybe a couple of mile races. Not over racing, but to the point where I think that if you do take some time away from the sport, allow yourself to recover, heal up. And I think too, taking, even if just taking a few days off, 3 days to a week off completely will help you, rejuvenate yourself and get ready for the next build up. Then yes, I would spend probably 4 weeks to 6 weeks doing base training mileage. 65 to 70 miles a week is solid. Yeah. And then jump in some faster 1500 races and then gradually move yourself back up to the 5K and then maybe 10K, however long you want to go. But I think there is times where we do need some time away from the sport and just to recharge. Because I already know everybody here that's on the stream, I know how much time and effort you're putting in. And it takes so much time and so much energy that allowing yourself that time to be away from the sport and relax for a little bit. Okay, 3 years of training with mileage ranging from 50 to 65 miles. Okay. I would definitely take some time off and relax a little bit and then start doing your base training. Trust me, I mean, I had no issues whatsoever taking time away from the sport. I would gain weight, I would drink and eat whatever I wanted. And then when I got back into serious training, I was all in. And those times where you have a little bit of time away it will recharge the batteries. And again, if you're training just continuously and not giving yourself any break, yeah, you will have some issues, holding high performances for a long period of time. Marion, Stockton's asking, Marion, what's your PR? Great numbers, man. Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I mean, if you spent that much time, Stockton 60 miles a week is no joke. Absolutely. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, running that type of mileage, I mean, really, a lot of athletes can do 50 to 60 miles a week, and other athletes have to do like 190 to 100 plus miles a week to get the same results that an athlete that's doing 50% of the volume is getting. As you all know, I mean, we're all different. Everybody's got different capabilities, and some people will work much better on higher mileage versus lower mileage. So, Maureen, where is what's your current PR right now for the 5K, and where are you at in the world? Stockton's also asking about it too. I have to run a ton, 110 this week. Wow. Okay. Yeah, that is a lot of mileage. That's that amount of mileage. Your recovery is so important, man. Sleep, nutrition, everything has got to be on point to run that amount of mileage for a long period of time. Yeah. Maureen's okay, around 1730 for 5K now. Looking to test a 10K in September. I'm more of a slow twitch runner, so I have to work on my speed as well. Yeah, awesome work, man. Run 1730. Good stuff. I'm looking to test a 10K in September. Yeah, that's a good time frame too. In September, hopefully, will be the temperatures will be a little bit more reasonable than they are right now. A lot of you, I don't know if you're hot weather runners. I'm not, but September should be a little bit more reasonable in terms of the heat and humidity. Yeah, definitely good, great work. Yeah, some of these times, I mean, both the men and the women around the world right now, the top times they're running is just insane. I mean, I think Jakob, if he gets back to complete fitness, I think now he's healthy now. I think that guy definitely has the chance to break 12:35. I think that's the world record right now. But and then was the lady that the Prefontaine Classic broke 14 minutes. I mean, it's absolutely insane. I mean, even to run 17:30, you have to be in phenomenal shape to run that quick. And there's a small percentage of runners that can run a 17:30, very, or quicker. It's very, very small. Oh, you're in Texas, Stockton. Okay. My wife and I, we actually lived in San Antonio. I was stationed down there. So I definitely hear where you're coming from. Humidity down there is absolutely insane. 17 and ran 17:21 last week. Wow. Great job. It's marathon building season. Staying away from small races. Yeah. Jake, okay. You're at Joint Base San Antonio. Yeah. Or are you in the military? Or were you in the military? That's where I was stationed at. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, the heat and humidity down there was rough. I did train a lot outdoors too, but I did a lot of training on the treadmill. And when the stream guest here mentioned treadmills earlier, there's just times where you have to do it. If you're doing like you have planned 1,600 meter reps or repeat 2 miles or repeat 3 miles on the roads, you will have to, like I mentioned before, definitely adjust your planned paces that you had planned going into hot weather type efforts, especially in San Antonio or any hot condition. Let's see here. Is eating pizza before a marathon to retain water a myth? What foods do you recommend before a marathon? I've never actually heard of that. To retain water a myth before a marathon, to retain water a myth. I never really overly thought about it, to be honest. I usually started carbo loading 4 days before my marathons. I started doing that heavily. So, I mean, I would just focus on fruits and vegetables, pasta, salads, and again, and taking in protein, powdered protein. But I think that, again, it's going to be different for every athlete in terms of what they eat and what they can handle. But yeah, prior to the start of the marathon, usually those were the types of foods it was always usually routine. I was just stock up on pasta about 4 days prior to, and never change up your routine. Again, if you have a race planned, get the hotel, get the flight, everything paid for well in advance, have all of your gear already set up and ready to go. The night before, have all that stuff, all the other stressors that you can, that would place additional stress off you. But in terms of food, that again, everybody's different, but I really never really overthought about that. I was really just focused on doing the very best I could in training to be as prepared as I possibly could for the marathon distance, which of course was the amount of calories I was taking in. And again, mentioned on the highest miles, I got up to 142 miles a week. But I PR'd at 85 to 90 miles a week. So remember that more mileage isn't the answer. Some athletes will do it because they feel like more mileage may be what's keeping them from improving. I thought the same thing. But really it made me tired, and I didn't run up to my performance, up to my PR level at that higher mileage. So, but yeah, more mileage you're putting in, you have to be eating enough, but also keep in mind the amount of protein you're taking in too, so that your muscles are recovered and heal up. Because we spent with all the harder anaerobic training we're doing, we're also building up a lot of inflammation as well. So if you if you don't take that seriously, man, you're only doing like 50% of the work. If you're just doing the physical training and you're not paying as much of attention to your recovery and your adaptation from the workouts you're doing. So Stockton, parents are retired Air Force. Okay, now GS. I'm going police force. SCPD offers something similar that WCAP offers, where they sponsor fast officers. You have to be elite category. Wow. Okay. Nice. That's really cool. I have to look into that in terms of how their program is set up. That's really cool that they'll sponsor you. Yeah, good stuff. And I think too, you mentioned you're going after sub 110. I mean, yeah, you're getting in a category that's getting into that particular category. It's already hard enough, like I said too earlier in other videos, it's already hard enough to break 3 hours for a marathon, or to go out there and break an hour and 20 minutes for a half, or 1:30 for a half for some athletes. But to go 110, sub 110, you're getting into a extremely small amount of athletes that do that each year. So yeah, keep up the great work. Actually, my cousin actually just got accepted into the police academy. She lives in Florida, so it's pretty cool to hearing that she's going to be in the police force as well. But yeah, that's cool that they have that. Yeah, and respect to your parents too. Yeah, the Air Force is without a doubt, in my opinion, the best branch. If anybody wants to join the service, if you want to do it, Air Force, Coast Guard, Navy. Again, everybody's going to have their own viewpoint of that, but my dad retired out of the Army in 1992. I never envisioned staying 20 years active duty in the Army. I thought I was going to do a 3-year stint and get out, but I had a lot of good opportunities. WCAP was one of them, and I couldn't leave, especially once you're after 10 years. I mean, you're halfway there. So yeah. Yep. The negative splitting is key. Yeah, absolutely. A lot of runners will do very well doing a negative split. Especially, the faster you're trying to run, man, you're really going to have to pay attention to your pacing, running the tangents, as I mentioned earlier, running the least amount of distance as you possibly can, doing every little thing that you can, the little things that will make a big difference by the finish line. Yeah. And it's hard. I think 110 is 520 mile pace. Yeah. 520 mile pace. So yeah, got to really get it right. But yeah, definitely keep me posted. Do you embrace tech when you run, such as a Fitbit or AirTag or drone to record your progress? Maybe even a drone that can carry a water bottle. No, actually, what I wish I would have done, I mentioned this in other streams, I wish I would have started my YouTube channel back in 2005 when it started. YouTube started in 2005, but now I just basically run and jog for fitness, general fitness. I don't race anymore. I mean, I'm more interested in helping out and other athletes meet and surpass their goals, their fitness goals now. But I raced from 1992 all the way to 2018, 2014, I should say. But now it's more so, I just basically just focus on getting in a certain amount of miles each week. But I don't really think so much more, don't really use Fitbit or any other type of technology right now. But yeah, there's so much stuff that they have out there. Fitbit's awesome. Garmin, the Garmin 965, I had that one. I gave it to my nephew because he's taken running, the Pennington running family to another level with his running. So I knew that after I was done competing, that he would definitely put that thing to work. But those are great. Those drones, I don't know enough about the drones that actually carry a water bottle for you. That's pretty wild. Very cool though. But yeah, let's see here. Brock is a beast, Stockton. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Yeah, he is an animal, straight up animal. I knew when I would watch him in high school. I think and we talk about it, we kind of joke about it too, because the first time he ran the mile, he ran it in 5:30. The first time he ran it, the 2 mile, he ran it in 11:30, and that was my exact times my freshman year too, during his freshman year. But he's really taken his running to another level. He just ran 14:22 for 5,000 on the track in his last collegiate race. Now he's getting married in October, and then he's going to start running some other races. But as long as he enjoys what he's doing, and yeah, support him all the way. But yeah, thanks a lot, Stockton. I appreciate the kind words, man. Any thoughts on volume training? Ran to Japan, Jake, YouTube. I think I've seen his, you know what? I don't know if I've seen his YouTube channel. I think there's a Run to Japan, or there was a website that's specifically for Japanese racing. I can't think of the name of it, but it was similar to that, like Ran in Japan, but it wasn't. I don't think I've seen his YouTube channel. I'm gonna make a note of that. Ran to Japan. His name's Jake. Ran to Japan. Is what's his main event? Is he run the marathon or 10,000? Let's see, Jake. I do know the Japanese. They definitely they have distance running. Okay, marathon, good stuff. Yeah, they are definitely kings when it comes to marathon running, long distance running. It's impressive to see an athlete, most Japanese runners, a lot of them, can be like 29, 30-minute 10K guys and go out there and run 206 for the marathon, or 207. But their volume is so high too. That's another thing. I see a lot of the Japanese runners. They're a lot like, what's the guy's name? Back in the 60s, he would run I heard he ran about 200 miles a week. Jerry Lindgren. That's what a lot of those athletes in Japan, not all of them, but a lot of them are running upwards of 200 miles plus 250 miles a week. So they smoke cigars while running sub 215. Yeah, that's some of them do actually. Yeah, it's wild. Running has just went absolutely bonkers since I retired out of the sport. It's just absolutely insane. Not only you look at shoe technology. We all see all the differences on the track and on the roads, but it's not a guarantee. As you all know, you can do everything right in a training buildup and have all the tech perfect. The shoes have everything, and it still doesn't go perfect. And especially the faster you're trying to run, the more technical and more specific the training has to be. And it really, the psychological and mental component really comes into play, where you really have to be strong mentally, especially when it's just not going right, But yeah, 215, no joke. Hey, David, Coach, I've been watching your videos for the past year. This is my first time on stream. I was interested in hearing a bit of your testimony, if you're okay with sharing. God bless. Are you talking about Christianity? Yeah, because I mentioned, I'm a Christian. Definitely think that nothing I've done in the sport of running, and this is just my personal testimony. Everybody's got their own viewpoints. Not everybody's a Christian. Maybe you're a Buddhist, maybe you're a Hindu. For me personally, what I've done in the sport of middle to long distance running, I credit 100% to Christ. But again, it's everybody's got their own personal relationship with their own creator, and whoever that creator is to them. For me, it's Christ. And but yeah, I mentioned a verse in Matthew on the YouTube channel, just keeping things in check in terms of remembering the golden rule and doing the best you can to love your neighbor and love your enemies. And I think that a lot of times that is hard to do in this world we live in. That's hard to do because it's very easy, as he mentions in the scriptures in Matthew, that it's very easy to love those that love you. But if you love those that don't care about you and don't really, or want to do something harmful to you, that's a little bit different. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't know. Like I mentioned, everybody's got their own personal relationship. With me personally, I went to a Christian college, Malone University in Canton, Ohio. And my wife and I actually were baptized together years ago in in Colorado Springs. And again, there is no, I don't believe in works. I believe in the having faith in Christ and knowing that he is the way, the truth, and the life. And the only way, and again, this is my opinion, but he is the only way. He's the only hope we have in terms of eternal life, because none of us are good. None of us are perfect. But yeah, that's kind of what I think. But yeah, great question. Appreciate it. And God bless you too. Let's see here. Yeah, like I mentioned earlier, I'm trying to do streams. I try to aim to do a stream. Well, the goal was to do it once a week, but I want to do it on the right time frame. And I know the weekends may work best for some athletes that watch these. Maybe during the weekends or weekdays is better for others. So I mean, I'll do a poll on the channel, see what folks are thinking in terms of doing live streams and what works best. Again, I'll keep making videos, and I'm making videos on the channel since I think December of 2020 was the first one that I made. It was on the breaking 3 hours for the marathon. And for years, I wish I would have, my wife told me for years, you need to jump on the make some videos, don't just write blog posts. But I had, what's the word for it? I guess just being nervous and being introverted at the time, jumping on and making videos. I was kind of concerned about that, but the more you do it, it's just like, now it's I've been doing it for so many years now. I don't really think about it as much. And, all the what ifs and like, what happens if I don't say the right thing, or if I don't, if I say something that's going to piss somebody off. You can't worry about that. If you're doing this and you want to share your viewpoints, just share what's on your mind and do the best you can, and know that what works for you is not necessarily going to work for other athletes, but you can still share. And that's what I try to do with the channel. But yeah, anyways, I do want to keep doing live streams. So it's nice to interact with athletes one-on-one and actually, answer questions and see what's on your guys' mind and gals' mind in terms of your preparation. So yeah, thanks, Stockton. I appreciate it. God didn't give us a spirit of fear. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you listen to music while running? While up-tempo rock music make someone run faster, harder, versus listening to sounds of nature and slow? I like both, to be honest with you. Yeah, I mean, there are times where I will listen to music, and I listen to everything. Rock, R&B, 80s, 70s. I love 70s music, more chill type. I don't think they make music like the 70s anymore, to be honest. That was the best. I mean, in the 60s, Rolling Stones, things like that, bands like that I love. But yeah, and then there's times where, hey, man, you just want to get out, get into nature, get away from everything, and not listen to anything, but just enjoy the overall experience of just getting out there and being able to jog or run. I would categorize myself more now as a jogger than a runner. I can still pick up if I wanted to. I mean, I could probably run a few sub 6 minute miles in the middle of maybe do a 5 or 6 mile run. Just last year I was training. I did a 54-minute 10 miler in training, and that was after 11 years away from the sport. So I know I still can do it, but now it's just like, hey, I just want to go out there and just get in general fitness, stay in shape. I literally did everything I wanted to do in a sport with the amount of talent that I had. And, so let's see here. Hey, David, is there a such thing as going too easy on easy recovery days? Honestly, that's a great question. To me, no. I think that, again, a recovery day should be exactly that. And I've seen, and I've trained with and lived with world-class runners, guys that could break sub 4 for the mile, under 2:10 for the marathon, who literally would go out, run 8 to 9 minute mile pace on their easy days. So I think that really on those recovery days, just enjoy it, because when it comes time to do the hard anaerobic training, that's what it should test your limits to the limit. I mean, physically, mentally, and you're going to need those days just to relax and not worry so much about what pace per mile or pace per kilometer I'm running, and just really just enjoy those recovery days for what they are. I think that if you get, again, everybody's different, but I think that, again, if you're running too quick on those recovery days, even if it feels easy, you don't always adapt to the hard training you're doing. You're already putting all of this time and effort into your workouts. You might as well be as relaxed as you can, enjoy the process, and give yourself sufficient time to adapt to each one of those workouts that you're doing. So make sure that you're running easy enough on the recovery days, but don't get so caught up. And I'm not saying you in general, David, but just runners in general need to keep that in mind. Because again, I mean, I've trained with some phenomenal runners, Olympians as well. Dan Brown was the example. He ran 2:11 for the marathon, made 2 Olympic teams for America. Sub 4-minute miler. He would jog on his easy days. He wasn't worried about what pace he was running. So I've always taken that mindset that if athletes that are at the absolute elite level, who are far better than me, can relax and jog, so can I, so hope that's helpful. Man, we got let's see here. Recovery days, I do not listen to music. Yeah. There's days where it's just, hey, just go out and enjoy the run. Yeah, absolutely. Stockman. Renegade Signal. Did you incorporate barefoot shoes and barefoot training, barefoot strides? I didn't when I was in my prime. If anything that I did do, I mean, there were times. I remember we had a training stint in Phoenix when I was with the World Class Athlete Program in the Army. They sent us to Phoenix, Arizona, for a 2-week training camp there, and I did do a lot of strides on the football fields on the grass, and also on the football fields. But there was a golf course that we did strides on the grass too. But I never really did any type of like barefoot shoes or barefoot training. But I did do barefoot strides, yes, but not often. And really in my entire career, I didn't do it very often, but I do believe there is something in grounding for sure. I think there's physiological benefits to grounding. If you've ever heard of that, I'm sure you have. If your feet is on the ground to the earth, there is a connection there. I do believe in that, but certainly there's benefits to this. Barefoot shoes, barefoot training. I just think you got to be really careful with if your feet and tendons aren't strong enough and not prepared to do that. Be gradual with it before you really go into heavy training, because it's so easy to get injured, and it's just not worth it, if you're putting in the heavy work. So, AT, for someone's first marathon, could attempting a positive split make sense, given that they really have no idea how they'll feel, what they'll have left in the tank towards the end of the race? Yeah, absolutely. I think I PR'd in my debut by doing a positive split, and PR'd in my ultimate PR doing a positive split. I don't know if I would have. I think for somebody, especially that's brand new, I think just go out and see what you can do, and don't get so caught up in like, man, I want to do a negative split. I want to run at this particular pace. Of course, you do have a general plan, a general idea of what pace you want to hit through the 10-mile mark, through the half marathon point, through the 20-mile point. But yeah, I think in a lot of cases, just going out and running, especially if it's a first attempt, or, if you're relatively new to the sport, a lot of athletes, both beginners as well as advanced athletes, usually hit PRs doing positive splits, because again, they go out so fast. Yes, they slow down, but they went out so fast that they have the luxury of, if you want to call it that, the luxury of having an additional bit of buffer time there to be able to slow down in the second half of the race, versus going out a little bit more conservative and then trying to pick up the pace. I think if you're newer to the sport, man, just go out and train well, prepare yourself, of course, but just go out and see what you're capable of, see what you can do. Yeah, that would be my answer. So, oh, that's awesome. Thanks, AT. I appreciate the support. It's nice enough just to hear from you all and your questions, but really appreciate anything that anybody's willing to drop on here. I appreciate it. So thank you. David, with a 2:35 as a target for a marathon with the maximum 100 miles a week, 4 weeks before the day of a race, if I cut 60% on the taper, you think 20 miles on the last week sounds a lot. No, actually I don't. If it's 20 miles total going into the marathon in the last week, yeah, I mean, you're averaging, if you have a couple days off going in, even the way I prepared too, I would have going into taper phases, I would do around 20 miles the last week. If you include the marathon, of course, that'd be a 46-mile week or so, but 15, I'd say 15 miles, keep it around 15 miles last week. 15 to 20 is okay. Yeah, I think, and your level of capability is extremely high. So maximum 100 miles weekly, 4 weeks before the day of the race. Yeah, and that consistent mileage at that level, man. Yeah, cutting 60%. Yep, I would do about a 60% cut 10 days out, and then keep it around, I think around 15 to 20 miles last week sounds okay. I would keep it more toward around 15 than 20. Again, at that point, you've done all the work, man, but really continue to pay attention to your sleep, your hydration, practicing your long runs, taking in gels, taking in enough fluid during your long runs. Continue to practice that, so when you get in the race, you will have rehearsed it and done it so many times that it's automatic for you. But yeah, I think that 20 is okay. It's on the higher end, but keep it around 15. You'll be good. Yeah. And reach out to me too, David. I'd like to hear how your buildup went, how it went. That's awesome, man. Going after a time that quick. Hey, Ben. Hey, coach, I'm getting ready for a transition from 1 mile training to 5K training with my main goal race on Thanksgiving. I think I should incorporate more threshold and stamina workouts. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, you're not going to go wrong with threshold and stamina workouts. You have to have that type of training in order to run a fast mile or 5K, period. And again, I don't know what is your particular time goals, but regardless how fast you're trying to run, the mile, even though it's still an aerobic event, it's closer to an anaerobic event when you look at, versus say like a 200 or 400 meter, which is definitely an anaerobic event. But compared to like the 10K, the 1 mile is still more of an aerobic event, but you have to have the stamina, especially the 5K. You have to have threshold training. You have to do more stamina workouts. But remind yourself too, and I've said this in other videos too, and it's Dr. Joe Vigil in his book, Road to the Top, states it takes approximately 28 days for the body to adapt to any stress load you're placing on it. And this is basically my collegiate coach, Jack Hazen, and who's also an Olympic coach. Him and Coach Vigil were very close, and all of our training was centered around Dr. Vigil's philosophy. So we would do, like when we were training for cross country, and this is just for your train for the mile and the 5K. If you're doing tempo workouts, you're doing threshold training, hill repetitions at particular intensities, and you're trying to hit specific splits for like repeat 150s or repeat 200 meter hill reps. Do that specific tempo run or threshold run or stamina workout for 3 weeks, up to around 4 weeks, consistently each week at that particular intensity. Don't try to go quicker. Stay at that same particular intensity for 3 weeks, approximately 3 weeks to up to 28 days. Come 28 days out, or from doing that, for 4 weeks of doing that, you are going to be fully physiologically adapted to that particular intensity. Then start moving up to your next intensity. Just an example, what we did in cross country with Coach Hazen, which was all based on Dr. Vigil's philosophy. We would start off doing 6 1 mile repetitions on the grass, training for 8K in college. And we would do repeat miles on the track or on the grass at 85% of our best mile time. So my best mile time is 4:22. I would start off doing 85%, right around 5:05 mile pace for those reps. We would do that for 3 weeks. He had us doing it for 3 weeks. And then we went to 88%. So again, you're giving yourself sufficient time to adapt to the stresses, improving your lactate tolerance, and then moving to the next intensity. So just be patient with the buildup. But yeah, that's what I would incorporate it for sure. Yeah. Chris, hey coach, I'll be doing a marathon in October that includes 3,500 feet of elevation gain, and it's between 5,500 and 7,000 feet. What are some things I should incorporate to prepare for it? Thanks. Oh man, a lot of. Are you living in altitude currently? Even if you're not living in altitude, let's see. Elevation gain, most importantly, focus on do a lot of training well below your goal race pace, doing hill repetitions, running over hillier terrain for your long runs. I think that's really important too. Again, training much faster than your goal race pace. And of course, we got to do some training at VO2 max effort, running at 95 to 100% max, sub-maximal effort to maximal effort, so that, again, we get that goal race pace to feel easier. But when you're racing at that particular height, and I lived in Colorado Springs, which is about that height, 6,000 feet, but I trained up to 10,000 feet. It's hard. It's very hard to do that, and especially to run a marathon at that particular intensity or that particular height. And you got a 3,500 foot elevation gain. Most important thing that you can do right now, one, is to stay consistent with your mileage. Do a lot of hillier terrain workouts. Training well below your goal race pace, so that, again, you can make up for that the best you can with the higher mileage and the higher, not only the higher mileage in training, but the higher altitude that you're going to race in. You already know there's going to be a 3,500 foot elevation gain, so make sure that you adjust your goals in terms of the pacing. Kudos to you for going after a marathon like this. That it's already hard enough to race a marathon, but to do it at altitude, and then you got a 3,500 elevation gain, you're taking marathoning to a whole nother level regarding that, Chris. So, I mean, kudos to you for that. Be smart with your training. Like I said, 1 VO2 max workout per week, 1 anaerobic threshold run or workout per week. If you want to change up your training as well, I think too, preparing for doing cross training as well is going to help a marathon. Even training at higher altitude will help as well. Just to get beyond the monotony of doing the same routine every single week. Get in the deep end of the pool, do your long run in the deep end of a pool. If you really want to make it hard, do an hour and a half to 2 hours in the deep end of the pool without a flotation device. So you're going to be pumping your arms. You're going to have to pump your arms. You're going to have to really pump your legs to keep yourself above water versus wearing a flotation device, which you also can do too for like a recovery run, like 2 hours in the deep end of the pool with a flotation device. So those are some of the things I would keep in mind. Definitely, again, as I said earlier, run the tangents in the race. Don't run any further than you need to. It's already going to be tough enough to run a marathon, but you're doing it at that type of altitude. The fact that it's not a flat race, you got a 3,500 foot elevation gain. Keep these things in mind, and you're going to be successful. I mean, the fact that you're preparing for this, you're already a Spartan already, man. So respect to you. Hope that's helpful. This will be a fun marathon for myself. Okay, I'm not trying to PR or anything crazy. Just want to finish and have fun. That's what I would do. Yeah, in that particular type of race, I just go out and enjoy myself. But again, just be mindful of which I'm preaching to the choir here, but what you're dealing with in terms of the terrain and the altitude. Yeah, just go out and enjoy yourself and do the best you can and enjoy it. Yeah. Let's see here. One more question here. Any specific workouts you would recommend to improve my 2 mile time? Currently at 12:35. Okay, nice work. And I'm aiming to get it at 12 or below. You're already there, man. I mean, really, most importantly, in that particular race, be mindful of going out too quick. I think going from a 12:35 to 11:59 is definitely doable. Spend some time doing, in terms of the VO2 max workouts, get down where you're running closer to 5:30, 5:15 to 5:20 mile pace in training, or quicker. Again, you could even run more, even at running a 12:35. I'm sure you could run 200 meters or 300 meters at like 4:55, 5-minute mile pace. You can do those short, really quick workouts that's, again, it's going to recruit more fast twitch muscle fibers. It's going to help you to get that 6-minute mile pace to feel that much easier for you. Be consistent with your mileage. You're aiming at 12 and 43 years. Okay. I think more than anything, don't change up drastically what you're already doing. The fact that you've already run a 12:35, you don't really have to make major changes in the way you're doing this to get to 11:59. Really, at this point, to go from a 12:35 to 11:59, it's a mental block for a lot of athletes. I mean, it's just a one step, a little bit faster than you've run. But I think going out a little, if you can do it may work better for you to do a positive split, but to be a little bit more conservative and try to do a negative split, maybe going out like 6:05 the first mile, and then trying to go like 5:40 to 5:45 for the second mile, doing a really fast second mile and not going out too aggressive may help you to get to that point. I do believe in hill training too. If you haven't started implementing that, over the years, I was really heavy on doing like repeat 150s, like 10 to 12 to 15, 100 meter to 150 meter hill repetitions, where you're going all out on the way up and either walking or jogging on the way back down. Walk in the earlier state. If you're earlier in your build up, I would walk on the way down, and then as you get fitter, then start jogging on the way down for recovery. But yeah, you're already there, man. It's stay in lane one for the entire race. If you can, don't run any further than you need to. Again, little things that will add up in the end. Stay as relaxed as you possibly can in training as well. Monitor how much muscular tension and the least amount of muscular tension and mental tension you're dealing with, the better your performance is going to be. You look at athletes like Jakob Ingebrigtsen from Norway or Usain Bolt. These athletes have rehearsed this over and over. They've continued to train significantly faster than they're aiming to race in the race. And so when it comes time to race, they're totally relaxed and they're ready to perform. So keep that in mind. I think if you do a healthy amount of one dose of VO2 max training per week, get to a point where you can do about 4 miles at anaerobic threshold effort. So again, you're doubling the distance of your goal race. If you can get that tempo run, let me see here, for an athlete going for 11:59, just in your case here, threshold pace is going to be 6:36. So again, you have to adjust a little bit. If 6:36 feels too aggressive, try to work yourself, first do a 2-mile anaerobic threshold run and then work your way up to 4 miles, get to a point where you can double the distance of your goal race. Again, it's going to make you so much stronger. You're going to have so much more stamina and strength to get from that 12:35 you're currently at to 11:59. So I have zero doubt you're going to do it. Absolutely zero doubt. The fact that you can run that quick tells me you definitely can go well below 12 minutes for the 2-mile. Absolutely. So hope that's helpful. So hey guys, I'm going to jump off here. Appreciate you, the great questions. Again, thanks to AT for the support, financial support. Appreciate all that. Again, anything that I make always goes back to the RunDreamAchieve brand. I mean, I've been doing this for 14 years now. So, and trust me, I've spent probably close to, I'd say probably 70, 80 grand worth of funds into the brand. So again, I love what I'm doing, but it's great to interact with runners from around the world. Really appreciate all what you do as well. For those of you that leave comments and support me. So thank you as well. I think I got one last question here. Do you also add weight training as part of your running routine, like a leg press, or would having thick quads and calves not be good for distance runner? I think everybody's got their own, in terms of physiological build. I mean, I've seen great runners who could run far faster than I ever ran that were bigger, thicker quads. I mean, just bigger legs. I mean, it's just, again, everybody's got their own, in terms of engine wise, everybody's built differently. I do believe in weight training. I did do one weight training workout per week. I always focused on the running, the core running muscles of the body, your core, quads, calves, upper body. I did a lot of light weights, high repetitions, but there were times where you could focus on doing heavier weights as well. But yeah, that's weight training should be a part of it. And there's different doing hill repetitions, doing hillier runs. That's part of in a different way. That's a part of weight training too. That's a strength training type workout as well. Pull running, because of the water pressure, that is a part of strength training as well. So keep those types of alternatives. If you don't want to just do gym training, keep that as well in mind as well, and you're going to do very well. Man, let's see. Got a couple more questions here. David, what were your deepest thoughts in the days before the races? Honoring the people you value a lot, your friends or family who have a big impact on your life. I think that has a lot of impact. Absolutely has a lot of impact. Yeah, you got it. Again, if you have folks that really care about you, that support you, they're not going to care how fast you run or if you have a DNF or if you have a bad race. They're going to be there for you regardless of what type of performance you drop. Yeah, of course, my friends and family were always my motivation to do, and of course, believing in God. You have to have something that keeps you going. And regardless of what it is, if it's something, outside of running, if it's business related or something else, some type of goal you have, you have to have something that's going to keep you going. And absolutely, that was those were my motivations, and still motivations today, to keep doing what I do and going after what I want to do. But for athletes, yeah, whatever it is, find that motivation and stay committed to what you want to do, and realize it's not going to be a perfect process the whole time. You're going to have ebbs and flows. You're going to have bad races. You're going to have times where you doubt yourself. You're going to have times where you don't have training partners, where the weather isn't right, where you miss your goals several times over and over again. And you just have to stay persistent long enough, and don't quit too soon, because it may just be a few months away, or maybe another 2 or 3 years of training before you get to that goal race that you've been dreaming about. Okay. So yeah, it's a great question, David. But yeah, those were some of my motivations without a doubt. It's just like anybody else. I mean, really, there's family and friends and goals that you have. Whatever it is, it's going to keep you fired up to keep going. Yeah. Let's see. I hate 9 to 5. Please subscribe. Okay. Coach, what do you think? Treadmill training. I run 5K on treadmill, 1% incline, 246 pace per kilometer, 1350. I have a 5K road race coming up September. Do you think I can run 1418, which is 251 pace per kilometer? Whew, man. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to put a limit on you. I didn't put limits on myself, so I'm definitely not going to put a limit on you. I think that based off that type of training you're doing, yeah, you're well capable of getting to that point. Yeah. 14.8. That's my PR on the roads too. 14.18. I did it in Denver, and that's the type of pacing I was doing in training. You got to be in the low 240s. Get to a point where you could do repeat miles, repeat 1600s, in the low 430s to 440 range. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're definitely in the type of shape you need to be to hit that. Absolutely. BJS, I run for St. Vincent College. Congrats to Brock on a fantastic collegiate career. Always a pleasure competing against those guys. It'll be a good cross-country pack championship this year. Yeah, appreciate the comments. I'm really proud of him, and kudos to you too for running at St. Vincent. That's awesome. Yeah, I hope your season. I don't know what year you're in, but it goes so fast. 4 years goes so fast. It was. I remember when Brock was still in high school, watching him go from a freshman to senior, and then seeing him run starting off at 11:30, and then he finished his senior year in high school with a 9:28 for 3,200 at the Pennsylvania State meet, finished fourth. And then to go from running, he ran 14:20 for 14:22, 5,000 meters on the track this year as the last race. Got his 1500 down to 356, his 800 to 155, 24.55 for 8K. Yeah, but again, it's been progression. Just whatever goal you're going after to BJS, it's progression and time. Okay. Whatever, if you see other runners that are doing things and running times that you just were like, how on earth did they do that? Remember, if you're a sophomore, you're a freshman, or even if you're a senior, it's just a matter of time, consistency, and putting in the work long enough. I mean, it's not just because they're talented. And I mean, there's a lot of cases it is their talent, but again, these athletes have been putting in the work for several years. If you look at an athlete like Brock, he didn't just get to that type of fitness level. It's taken him several years of hard training, unending work to get to that point. And it's just a good reminder for all of us, regardless what capability, what time capability you are, or whatever you're shooting for, be willing to do it long enough and longer than somebody that quits and gives up too early. It's not because they were any less of an athlete or less of a person than you are because they decided to quit earlier. It's just, sometimes it's just going to take several years to get to that point. So, but I appreciate, thanks for the support for Brock, and I wish you all the best with your cross country championships. That's going to be awesome. Definitely. All right, guys, I'm going to jump off here. Appreciate you all. And thanks again for all the great questions. And I'll jump on here probably in the next week or two too, and connect with you all again. So have a great evening. I'll talk to you all soon.